Shake one, please.
Cultures and the enduring spirit of intellectual exchange. Ladies and gentlemen, today is not only about the gracious presence. Let us now begin this memorable.
Esteemed dignitaries and honored guests, surrounded by rich traditions of knowledge and learning, I invite you to take part in a cherished ritual, the lighting of the oil lamp.
I would like to invite the following dignitaries to honor us with your presence and light the traditional oil lamp. Honorable Minister Lanka, Professor Terence Madhuji, Vice World History Congress 2025, Telugu University, Sri Shailam, University of Peradeniya. Dr. V. Gunasekaran, Joint Secretary, Puducherry World History Congress 2025, Associate Professor, Department of History, Alagappa Government Arts College, Karaikudi, Tamil Nadu. Dr. C. Chandrasekhar, Treasurer, Puducherry 2020, Professor, Dharmapuri, Tamil Nadu. Professor Osman Dharmapuri, Tamil Nadu. Professor Osman Bopearachi, Director, the French National Center for Scientific Research, France. Professor Rohita Dasanayaka, Local Secretary, Puducherry World History Congress 2025, Head of Department of History, Faculty of Arts, University of Peradeniya. Professor Ramani Hettiarachi, Vice President, Puducherry World History Congress 2025, Department of Archaeology, University of Kelaniya.
Information Technology, Faculty of Arts Universities, Dr. Darshi Thoradeniya, Head Department of History, University of Colombo, Professor Sanjeeva Malaviarachi, Director, International Research Center, University of Peradeniya, Manager, Bank of Ceylon, Peradeniya Branch, Mr. Herbert Kalugampitiya, representing the Alumni Association of the Faculty of Arts, Mr. R. Maheshwaran, Librarian, University of Peradeniya, Mr. K. A. B. Damunupala, Acting Registrar, University of Peradeniya, Mr. A. M. N. B. Arampath, Bursa, University of Peradeniya, and Mr. Sahan Mahesh, Coordinator, Organizing Committee, Puducherry World History Congress, and Lecturer, Department of History, Faculty of Arts, University of Peradeniya.
Professor Namali, and also I would like to invite Professor Namali Hadagama, the Head, Department of Philosophy, Faculty of Arts, University of Peradeniya.
Also, Professor Lasanda Airangani from the University of Rajarata.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let us now rise for the anthem of the University of Peradeniya.
We are members of the World History Congress. Your dedication and sacrifice have been most essential in making it possible to host this great event at the University of Peradeniya with the collaboration partner as a Department of History. A very special welcome to the chief guest, Professor Chandana Abhiratna, our great historian and minister, public administration and local council and especially local government, were, despite though he accepted our kind invitation and movement, adding he is trying to, we strongly believe that he is trying to add in light and delight in this special moment. I also extend a warm welcome to our Honorable Keynote speaker, Professor Osman Bopiarachi. Highly appreciate your great contribution, especially your, despite the short notice, he has kindly agreed to my heartfelt gratitude and warmest welcome to our respective Vice Chancellor, Professor Terence Majidit. Contribution and motivation you always do in your own job as a mentor. Exactly. Twice happy about your presence here. I also, our Dean, Faculty of Arts, Dr. Prabhat Ekanayaka, without your great support, we are unable to do this great job, sir. High regards for your great contribution, motivation, continually pull us cooperation related to this specific moment. My kind welcome goes to the Deputy Vice Chancellor, who has many engaged, but he gave his fullest support to make this event the great success. I am also pleased to warmly welcome all the deans of the faculties, directors of the institution, head of departments, and registrar, librarian, bursar, and other administrative staff. Mostly welcome all of you again and again. Great scholars, paper presenters, colleagues, my dear students, I welcome you all to this remarkable. The Congress is not only academic event, it also a bridge between nations. The collaboration between India and Sri Lanka through the platform strengthens cultural ties, promotes mutual understanding, and create new occasion for intellectual exchange. By gathering here, we contribute to the wisdom of our friendship, cooperation, and knowledge shared in two nations and beyond. Historian, I strongly believe that history is not only the study of the past, it is the mirror through which we understand the present and prepare for the future, especially for our younger generation and new generation. It helps societies to address challenges, repetition, mistakes, and find meaning in their journey. For the modern world, history remains essential in guiding progress with wisdom. Therefore, I invite you to the discussions to share your research with dialogue, first with various perspectives, and to carry forward the support of the collaboration to this Congress represent. With this regard, I warmly welcome all of you again and again and declare the open proceedings of the third session of the Puducherry World History Congress 2025 at the Faculty of Arts, University of Peradeniya. Happy day. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Ramani Hittiarachi. Next, we would like to invite Professor Chenna Reddy, President of the Puducherry World History Congress 2025, for the presidential address.
Before Professor Chenna Reddy, I kindly invite Professor Rohitha Dasanayake, the local secretary of the Puducherry World History Congress, to felicitate him with the traditional shawl of honor.
So we would like to invite you to the podium.
Namo Buddhaya. Very good morning to all respectable VIPs, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor, dear delegates from various countries gathered here in the historical University of Peradeniya. I thank cordially and sincerely the organizers of the University of Peradeniya, Sri Lanka, and the Puducherry World History Congress for inviting me and entrusted the duty of delivering the presidential address for the third Puducherry World History Congress conference held here in the university. My heartfelt and amiable thanks to Professor Terence Madhujit, Honorable Vice Chancellor of University of Peradeniya, Sri Lanka. Dr. Professor Chandana Abhiratni is a Minister for Administrative Affairs. I don't know. Dr. Prabhat Eknaike, Dean of Faculty of Arts, University of Peradeniya. Professor N. Rajendran, my mentor, former President, PwC, former Vice Chancellor of Alagappa University. Dr. V. Gunashekaran, Vice President, Associate Professor, History, Alagappa University, Karaikudi, Tamil Nadu. Professor Ramani Hittiarachi, Vice President, Department of History, University of Peradeniya. Dr. Chandrasekhar, Secretary, Associate Professor in History, Dharmapuri, Pondicherry, in Tamil Nadu. Dr. G. D. Gunta Chalpatrao, Joint Secretary, Principal Kasturiba College for Women's Welfare, Puducherry. Dr. My friend, today's function hero, Dr. Professor K.M. Rohitha Dasanayake, Local Secretary, Head of the Department of History, University of Peradeniya. Dr. Chandrasekhar, Dr. V. Elengo, Honorable Member, NSS Coordinator, Advisory Committee. Professor Sumudu Dharmaratna, Executive Committee Member, Department of History, University of Peradeniya. Reverend Shobita, Honorable Member, Department of History, University of Peradeniya, and all other dignitaries sitting at the dais and on the dais and off the dais, gracing this occasion. It is a great privilege and honor to stand before you in the historical campus of University independent period of Sri Lanka from 1942 to 1978. And thereafter, the crest itself is with a line motif that has remained the university's logo, the line being the symbol of nation, surrounded by a Sanskrit motto, Sarvavasya. Lokanam Shastram. Knowledge is I unto all. The words University of Ceylon in English, outside the circle was a design of Palapati, a symbol of purity and wisdom in indigenous art, represented here by the stylized lotus petals of the Kandyan period. The expression is from Sanskrit quote. These principles are applicable even to modern times. The historical past shows that the South Asian countries were united together by the Buddhist culture, tradition, heritage, and civilization. Because of Buddhism, the Chinese monks were coming to India and Sri Lanka, passing through the South Asian countries, that is, sea countries, to return back. Thus, from the ancient to modern period, and modern, they are interacting, and counteracting with each other. The line has been taking part with the dragon and the elephant in all such dialogues, debates, discussions, discourses, and deliberations. Consequently, animal symbolism made to choose the title, the medieval and modern Silk Routes, changing maritime, martial, martial and marital alliances. The medieval changing maritime, marital alliances. Silk Road oblique Belt Road initiatives connect Sri Lanka with China. Singhala, Sinhala, Ceylon or Sri Lanka has been the strategic island since prehistoric period to modern times in the maritime, overseas, and nautical history in the global context. The Indian and Indian Ocean studies in any aspect cannot be carried in without covering Sri Lanka. While Sri Lanka traces its history to India through Deepavamsha and Mahavamsha, traveling through by Bay of Bengal or Kalinga Sea or Cholas Ocean, now the Belt Road Initiative, that is BRI, comes into play. Whether the Silk Road was really silky, slippery, or thorny, the sojourners had to tell the fact. Even if Silk Road journey was undertaken on the sea or it was pleasant, stormy, infested with the pirates, has to be realized from their narratives. Through though millions of Buddhist monks came to India, only Pahyan Paxken from 37 to 1422 and Yuan Chong 629 to 645 are talked about. Indeed, they traveled by road and sea to come to India and return back to China. Movement of Buddhist and Chinese Buddhists from India to China and vice versa. About the Chola tributary missions to China, researchers have pointed out enough. During first centuries, the movement from India had been through northwest Central Asia to China, mainly, though Buddhist and Hindu monks popularly mentioned as Silk Road. Then the Chinese Buddhist monks started coming to India to collect pictures, etc., from India to China. Indian and Chinese monks participated in these activities, wherein thousands of texts were translated over a millennium, 3rd century to the 14th. The Chola Chinese contacts were by land through Northeast and Andaman Islands, Thailand, uh, Guangzhou, that is in China. While the Indian movement was divided because of ruling dynasties, the movement of the Chinese and Chinese monks had been in both land and sea routes. Some of the monks' Indian works translated by them are tabulated in this thing. Therefore, the Chinese Buddhist monks coming to India till 13th century is shown here, and incidentally they visit Ceylon also. Now, martial alliance is discussed as when any group of people stayed in another country for a long time or even settled down, they might got into family affairs. Even political exigency, military action, and trade sojourn would have necessitated such alliances. Chinese, Ceylonese, and Indian martial alliances. A recent story reported in the media goes like this. Once Prince of Ceylon reportedly visited China uh, in the Fujian provinces as an emissary in the year 1459 during the Ming dynasty, that is in 1368 to 1644. In 2018, the 55-year-old in generation descendants of the Ceylon prince visited the place. In 1980, Zhu Xi married a Chinese historian and they ran an artifact and antique shop in downtown Konju. In 2002, Kuzi was invited to Sri Lanka and received with the royal etiquette. In 2010, she was received by DM Jairatri, then Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, at the Shanghai Expo, India, and that too. Tamiligan, the legends of the kings, chieftains, captains, sailors, and others. Considering the Indian connection with China and vice versa, China must have had peaceful relation alliance with India. The Chinese martial alliance with the Indians is analyzed first. Instance of Chinese marrying Indian women, like many instances there, Chinese marrying Indian women, and also Indo-Chinese marriages in the modern times. The Chinese-Indian marital alliances are there. It can be construed as a historical political alliances through royal Chinese and Indian dynasties, and the contemporary presence of Chinese individuals in India, including those who marry into Indian. Yes, yes. The Sinhalese marrying Indian women. Vijaya, a crown prince who was banished by his father from city of Sinhara in Bangalore, northeast India, landed on the western shores of Sri Lanka with 700 strong men in 4th century. He married a daughter of Pandya king, coming to medieval period. Okay. Indian maritime strategy is there. Whether the Cholas were Indian maritime strategy is there. Whether the Cholas were involved in the piracy, like activities of Arabs, Chinese, Srivijaya are practicing politics, plunder. How Srivijaya became adversary to the Cholas, necessitating surgical strike. The emergence of Cholas as major maritime power. The marriage strategy of the interpreted like Spencer's. The Western scholars have downplayed the maritime role of Cholas in the context, though they used to interpret differently. The following activities have been viewed critically. The control of the Cheras by attacking their maritime academy and the shipbuilding had been checked their direct supply of ships to the Arabs. The consequence of southern Karnataka by the Chola ruler Rajendra in 1032 had been to secure control the internal trade routes in southern India for the Tamil Nadu merchant guilds. The attack on the due to the fact that the latter not only misinterpreted themselves as the representatives of the southeastern region, but also claimed the Cholas were their subjects. The attacks on the South Asian force politics in 1025 and again the roots of 1070s, as well as the occupation of Sri Lanka in 1080, were intended to expand the commercial interests of the polities, merchants, and thereby the polity itself. The Kadambas trade with the medieval eastern areas has also been significant. Whether the Kadambas had been offshoot of the Cholas, otherwise has been studied separately as the many things. Trade between Sri Lanka and Indian women, yes, yes. Struggle between elephant dragon is not trade for power, but for maintenance peace. I will conclude this. Conclusion part, I will read. In the above discussions, the following points are present. Cultural symbolism of dragon, elephant, and lion could be united through the Buddhist factor. A peaceful path is trade. The principle of ahimsa has to be followed in the production and manufacturing, import and export, and movement of goods and services. Cross-border violations and Liberanism cannot make people live with peace. The animal symbolism might satisfy for philosophical musics, hypocritical peace initiatives, and global extravaganza. But in reality, the involved people and beings only. Therefore, Buddha has to be peaceful to bring ahimsa to the world. I request the eminent elite and emeritus historians, professors, and researchers ponder over the issues, the work for the peace among the South Asia. I appeal to the historians here to please come out of the box, set new standards in historical research, duly revising the existing history with new information and interpretation. At the end, I would like to steering committees of the Puducherry World History Congress to organize seminars, workshops, and field trips to archaeological sites and historical monuments, to steer young minds and orient them towards the writings unprejudiced history. I thank you one and all. Sorry, I take
Thank you, Professor Chenna Reddy.
And now, I kindly invite Professor Sri Chandrasekhar, Treasurer of the Puducherry World History Congress 2025, to felicitate Professor Chandan Aberatna with the traditional shawl of honor.
Thank you. And now I have the honor of inviting Professor Rohita Dasanayake, Local Secretary of the Puducherry World History Congress and Head of the Department of History, University of Peradeniya, to address the gathering.
Before Professor Rohita Dasanayake takes the podium, I kindly invite Professor C. Chandrasekhar, the Treasurer of the Puducherry World History Congress 2025.
It is now my great honor to invite our chief guest, Professor Chandan Aberatna, Honorable Minister of Public Administration, Provincial and Local Government in Sri Lanka, to address the gathering.
Good morning, all of you. Venerable Sirs, Professor Madhujit, Vice Chancellor, University of Peradeniya, Professor Chenna Reddy, and all the distinguished guests. And here, Senior Professor Anura Manatunga, one of my teachers from University of Kelaniya, Professor Bopearachi, and all other my colleagues. It is with deep appreciation and honor that I stand before you today, having been invited to participate in this esteemed gathering. I wish to begin by expressing my heartfelt gratitude to the Vice Chancellor, Professor Terence Madhujit, and Dr. Prabhat Ekanayake, the Dean, Faculty of Arts and academic members of the Department of History, especially Professor Ramani Hettiarachchi and Professor Rohita, for extending this invitation. I address you today not only in my capacity as the Minister of Public Administration, Provincial Councils and Local Government, but also as someone who has always been deeply engaged with the discipline of history. I like to introduce myself as a student of history. And I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the government of India and distinguished scholars, especially led by Reddy of the Puducherry World History Congress, for selecting our country as the venue to open this important dialogue and for recognizing Sri Lanka as a center for historical and cultural exchange. My relationship with the Department of History here at the University of Peradeniya is not new. Actually, I was selected to the University of Peradeniya as a student, but fortunately or unfortunately, I had to have a mutual transfer to the University of Kelaniya. From the earliest days of my academic journey, I shared a strong connection with this institution. Over the years, I have had the privilege of collaborating with its distinguished academics. Indeed, some of the brilliant minds teaching here today were once my own students, Rohita, Sumudu, Vimal, Chandrika, and some others. It is a personal joy to witness the growth, dedication, and intellectual vigor that this department continues to uphold. I have always believed that history is not merely a subject confined to the classroom, it is living, breathing force that shapes the way we see the world. History provides us with the lens through which we can better understand the origins of conflicts, the roots of societal challenges, and the deeper currents that shape human behaviors. In my work as a policymaker, I have found historical perspective to be indispensable not only in understanding the complexities of governance, but also in finding solutions that are both just and sustainable. In this sense, two history writers influence is Mahanama Thera, who composed Mahavansa. He says regarding Elara, Vohara Samaye Majjatto Mitta Sattusu. Consider without any partial issues for the friends as well as enemies. The other one is Kalhana. He wrote in Rajatarangini, Slaghya Saiva Gunavan Ragadvesha Bahishkruta Bhutartha Katane Yasya Sahireva Prajapati. When we examine history carefully, we learn that every issue, every challenge is part of a shaped by cultural traditions, political developments, and human aspirations across time. This understanding allows us to approach with humility, wisdom, and the recognition of the lessons our ancestors have already paid for dearly. In an era when the world faces global challenges from climate change to economic inequality, history equips us with the knowledge to see patterns, to avoid repeating mistakes, and to build on the successes of the past. This is why events such as the Puducherry World History Congress are invaluable. They create a space where scholars from across the globe can share research, exchange, and enrich our collective understanding. I am confident that the discussions we have here will not remain within these walls. They will travel with us into our universities, our communities, especially for me, our policy decisions, and will inspire action that is informed by the wisdom of the past. Sri Lanka, with its rich cultural heritage and timeless landmarks, offers the perfect backdrop for this exchange of ideas. This Congress not only strengthens the intellectual ties between nations such as India and Sri Lanka, but also showcases our country's cultural treasures to the world, promoting tourism, mutual respect, and cross cultural understanding. I warmly welcome you to explore, experience, and our history, which is the soul of our nation. And finally, I would like to beg you a apology for my inability not to stay with you here for the rest of the day, and I have to leave you. Excuse me, please allow me to leave this venue for the my duty of the ministry. Again, I would like to pay my sincere gratitude to all the organizers, especially Professor Ramani and Rohit. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Chandana Beratna. And now I have the honor of inviting Professor Rohita Dasanayake, Local Secretary of the Puducherry World History Congress and Head of the Department of History, University of Peradeniya, to address the gathering.
Before Professor Rohita Dasanayake takes the podium, I kindly invite Professor C. Chandrasekhar, the Treasurer of the Puducherry World History Congress 2025, him with the traditional shawl of honor.
Reverences, Vice Chancellor, Professor Terence Majudit, University of Peradeniya, Dean, Faculty of Arts, Dr. Prabhat Tekanaika, Professor Chennai Reddy, President, Puducherry World History Congress, Dr. Chandrasekharan, Treasurer, Puducherry World History Congress, Professor V. Gunasekharan, Joint Secretary, Puducherry World History Congress, Professor Osman Bopiarachi, our teacher, our guru, keynote speaker, Professor Ramani Hettiarachi, and chairperson of this conference, and Registrar Bursa, and Dr. Chandrasekharan San, and Professor Sanjeeva, Director, INRO, and Professor Nandita, and my Indian delegates, friends, and Professor Anura Manatunga, former Archaeological Director General, and other colleagues, professors, and my friends. It is with profound gratitude and deep honor that I address you today as the local secretary of the Pondicherry World History Congress 2025. This occasion marks one of the most significant and amicable academic gathering between India and Sri Lanka. Today, at the Faculty of Arts, University of Peradeniya, we inaugurate this prestigious event. It is the fruit of many months of dedication and tireless effort by both our team here at the University of Peradeniya and our esteemed partners in India. I warmly welcome you all to our beautiful university on this historic day. The history of our subcontinent, the cradle of one of the world's finest ancient civilization, holds immense relevance for the remind us that peace, harmony, and the spirit of coexistence are timeless value that we must strive to recover in the contemporary world. For nearly 2 decades, Indian universities, most notably the University of Madras, have opened their doors to Sri Lankan scholars. I too had the privilege of completing my doctoral studies at the University of Madras in 2005, where I developed lasting friendship and a deep intellectual both many of South Indian scholars. This Congress, I firmly believe, represent the zenith of our enduring academic ties. I wish to gratefully acknowledge the collaborative of spirit of distinguished scholars such as the Professor Chandrasekhar and Professor Gui Gunasekaran and Professor Chalapati Rao, whom we have worked hand in hand to strengthen these bonds. Alongside Professor Raman Hetty Professor Sumududar Radne, Dr. Reverend Sobita, and my colleagues from the Department of History, we have built a network of genuine friendship and cooperation with many Indian universities. The earlier work Pondicherry and Hyderabad laid the solid foundation of such dialogue and exchange. I recall with deep humility that during the second Congress in Hyderabad, I was graciously invited by Professor Chandrasekhar and other eminent scholars to bring this event to Sri Lanka. With the unwavering support of our Vice Chancellor, Dean, and the generous encouragement of colleagues such as Professor Chandrasekharan and Professor Gunasekharan, that vision has now begun. Today, we gathered in the spirit of shared scholarship, friendship, and mutual respect. This conference is indeed a landmark moment for the University of Peradeniya. Our university has long been recognized for nurturing a vibrant academic culture and for forging connection with the universities across the globe. Much of this success is owed to the visionary leadership of our Vice Chancellor and the steadfast guidance of our Dean Dr. Prabhat Naik. It is a blessing that we are hosting this event in the historic city of Kandy, a city that for the centuries has embodied the living ties between South India and Sri Lanka. That Professor Chandana Aberadna, Honorable Minister of the Public Administration, Provincial Council, and the local government, is present with us. He was one of my greatest teacher in my academic career. Sir, your kind presence has made this historical event even more prestigious. I'd like to welcome you, Professor Osman Bopearachi, as our keynote speaker. You were first introduced to me by Professor Sirima Kiribaune during my early years as a staff member at this university. Exceptional knowledge and the dedicated intellectual contribution will serve as a profound inspiration and invaluable addition to our conference. From the annal of the history, we recall how the royal houses of Sri Lanka were born to South India through dynastic marriages, particularly with the queens from the Nayakar clans. In time, the royal houses of Kandy itself enriched with the Tamil cultural influences. Even today, Kandy bears the witness to the shared heritage through its monuments and the architectural traditions that reflect South Indian styles. Equally, we must recognize the contribution of North Indian traditions to Sri Lankan culture and heritage, reminding us that both North and South India stand as our historical companions and friends. As the Department of History, we are proud to carry forward this legacy. Personally, I have had the honor of engaging with the 18 South Indian universities in the creation of the doctoral research, contributing to nearly 300, and this has been one of the most enriching experiences of my academic journey, and it reflects that depth of our partnership. It is my firm belief that this eminent gathering will further fortify the bond between Sri Lanka and India, raising our academic cooperation to new heights, vibrant, enduring, and truly prestigious. With that spirit, I extend to all a most heartfelt welcome to this conference. Wish our deliberations every success. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Professor Rohita Dasanayake. And now it is my privilege to invite our first guest of honor, Professor Terence Madhujit, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Peradeniya, to address the gathering.
Before our Vice Chancellor invite Professor V. Gunasekaran, Joint Secretary of the Puducherry World History Congress 2025, to felicitate him with the traditional shawl of honor.
Reverend Sir, good morning everyone. The Chairman of Puducherry World History Congress 2025, Professor Reddy, all other Indian delegates, Secretary, Professor Chandrasekharan, the Dean Faculty of Arts, Dr. Prabhat Ekanayaka, the Head of the Department of History, Professor Rohita Dasanayaka, the Vice Chairman of the local counterpart, Professor Ramani Hettiarachchi, Keynote speaker, Professor Osman Bobiarachi, the Director International Relations Office, Professor Sanjeev Maliviarachi, all heads of the departments, the acting registrar, the Bursa, the librarian of University of Peradeniya, all academic colleagues from Faculty of Arts and other faculties, the Deputy Registrar, Ms. Kumari Hera, and dear all participants, delegates from India and other countries, the academic staff and non-academic staff members, the students, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me congratulate the entire team organizing the important Puducherry World Congress 2025 at the University of Peradeniya. You have selected the right location, President Reddy, because Sri Lanka and India have sharing many is Buddhism. Buddhism arrived in Sri Lanka the 3rd century BC, and arrival of King Vijaya along with 700 his followers it's a landmark of our history in Sri Lanka. Our prehistoric age dates back to about 125,000 to 500,000 years prehistoric age. Now there have been strong links between southern India and Sri Lanka. Even today we see remnants of the land link between the two countries. In great Ramayana, there's a mention about Sri Lankan airport of Ravana which is today known as Variapala in Kurunegala district. So, ladies and gentlemen, in recent history, just 3 years ago in 2022, when we had the hardest economic problems in the country, India is a first nation to come to rescue. So I salute all Indians for your enormous support during the hardest time. And thanks for your help. And thanks to the international support that we received, we are still alive, ladies and gentlemen. Now, University of Peradeniya, first of all, we welcome all of you to this most picturesque university in this country. We have 17 state universities, of which University of Peradeniya is a pioneering higher educational institution, which is now 83 years old. We just celebrated our 83rd birthday on July 1st. And the most importantly, this was established by British. The founding vice chancellor was Sir Ivor Jennings, who became the vice chancellor of Cambridge. Such a reputed person in the British government was the one who founded this university. Right now, we have nearly 15,600 students, nearly 850 faculty members, and Faculty of Arts being the largest with over 4,000 students, 165 academic staff members. University of Peradeniya has 4 postgraduate institutions: agriculture, science, humanities and social sciences, and medical sciences. We have nearly 10,000 postgraduate students already registered at the moment, and another 10,000 distant learners, ladies and gentlemen. So this has been, with 9 faculties, we have been the largest. And we have been ranked number 1 by most of the ranking institutions. Just a couple of months ago, consortium of ranking institutions in the world selected Peradeniya as 1,648th university in the entire world. And for a small nation like Sri Lanka to coming within the world top 2,000 universities, not a simple thing. For a great nation like India, it is easy, but for us, a small nation of 65,000 square kilometer land with 22 million people, we are just a peanut compared to India press ready. So still, we have been standing with our heads up in the world map. Our hydraulic civilization in Anuradhapura and Polonnaruwa, the great marvels of architecture, like be visiting, I think, a day or two, exhibits Sri Lankan small nation a place in the world map in terms of history. History is not just learning the past, but it shows how we developed over the centuries. It shows our founding pattern, civilization changing, especially in this rapidly changing world, in the digital transformation and AI. We are transforming very rapidly, more than ever before. So therefore, it is very important to learn history of the country and of the world. So in that sense, one good example I can show is where you are in. It's one of the oldest buildings of this university, built in 1940s. And you will be visiting show in the afternoon. The Senate represents the Anuradhapura kingdom with these stone pillars. And when you come with a 90-degree angle, come up to this, that shows the change of civilizations from Anuradhapura to Polonnaruwa to finally to Yapahuva and Kandy. So the University of Peradeniya, ladies and gentlemen, reflects the real history of this country and layers of that has taken place in the country is displayed, exhibited by University of Peradeniya. So without much ado, I saw your sub-thematic areas which are very important: environmental sustainability and heritage management. And Kandy city is blessed with Temple of Tooth Relic, ladies and gentlemen. That our city is right now congested without knowing the old city and new city. We all jumbled up, and still we are managing. So we need to sort out how to develop further, because right now it is a congested city. I'm sure you will be visiting Kandy, Sigiri in the next few days. So without much ado, let me congratulate once again all the. I'm sure your discourse in the next will lead to a very success. Then this program will be a very productive and successful Congress. And the network that you built with our colleagues from Peradeniya and Sri Lanka, I not forgetting other scholars from universities of Kelaniya, Colombo, Jayawardhanapura and others. So we will, all these historians, great historians will have a very successful network, building network, I'm sure that will bring a lot of benefits to both nations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Next, I warmly invite our second guest of honor, Dr. Prabhat Ekanayaka, the Dean of the Faculty of Arts, University of Peradeniya, to share his words with us.
Before Dr. Ekanayaka takes the podium, I kindly invite Professor Chenna Reddy, President of the Puducherry World History Congress, to felicitate him with the traditional shawl of honor.
Reverend Mahasangha, Namaste, Aibowan. Very good morning, very happy day to all of you. I'm very happy to see this wonderful gathering, India, Sri Lanka, and some other countries who are participating this memorable, wonderful, and remarkable event organized by jointly University of Peradeniya, Department of History, especially, and Indian scholars. So, Vice Chancellor Sir and other Indian professors, sorry about I cannot go due to limited time, and other professors, especially Professor Manatunga, and our former Vice Chancellor here, Madhu Bandar Sir. So, and other professors, head of the departments, distinguished scholars, students, and ladies and gentlemen. So many felicitations went on the stage. So appreciation and honor all the participants, including me. Professor Rohita Dasanayaka, local chief of this event and head of the department, garland us. I would like to ask the dean of the faculty, garland him on behalf of the audience and all the participants, because he's the, as very correctly said, the star of the day, and he's the person I need to garland you. So this type of academics we need. He's the young professor of our faculty and doing a leading role to develop our academic research and collaboration. This is the first time in history this amount of delegates from foreign country to participate this kind of event in the history. He is writing the history of the Department of History, scholar history of this university. So, Professor Manatunga and scholars, I would like to ask one question. Who is the most important, medical doctor or engineer or historian, history teacher? So our Vice Chancellor, sir, from the Faculty of Agriculture, he's the chair professor of food and technology. He's the eminent. Without his guidance and dedication, always he is supporting this into the material of this scale. and also Professor Ranjit Pallegama, Deputy Vice Chancellor. He is also a dentist, a dental surgeon. So the top level, the administrators and decision makers are hard science people. And also, sometimes we are encouraging. Now we are on the dilemma of having kind of uh, market-driven curriculum. I mean, humanities and social sciences. We are asking why we are teaching Sinhala, maybe history within these universities, how we can marketable, how we can sell these subjects. So that's why I asked that question, who is the most important, historian, history teacher, or medical doctor, or engineer? If medical doctor did a mistake, it will end up with cemetery, 6 feet deep, right? That's it. Only one person will die. If history teacher did a mistake, the result cannot measure, right? I agree with me. So if something wrong, badly went, it happened earlier in Sri Lanka, India, wrongly interpreted LTT and the Tamil Tigers and Sinhala, the people, divided into several segments, parts, having 30 years long war. Why? Wrongly interpreted history. And also now, within Tamil Nadu and Sri Lanka, there's a huge problem with fishermen, right? Tamil Nadu people, fishermen, telling that this Indian marking the border, including our area, and Sinhala, the Sri Lankan people, especially in north and eastern area, they are believing that Indian people invade to the our area and fishing. They are stealing our wealth. So, as a historian, researchers, I know that you are now today presenting more than 100 papers. Please bring real solution to this problem. So then only we can develop, not like doctors, not like engineers. We can build, we can develop nations for 1,000 years of future. Historian E.H. Kerr mentioned that in his book, there are 4 types of people in the society, generations, 4 types of generations. The first generation is always they are thinkers, they are revolutionists, they are changing the world, they are fighting each other. Like Lenin, he went against the Tsar and established the Soviet Union, likewise. Then second generation is organized based on the revolution, developing the things, organizing things, develop the roads and the infrastructure and institution and so on. Third generation is pragmatists who are using, who are getting benefits from that the organizers' work. The final generation, the fourth generation is again turn back, questioning, and try to agitate or maybe protest against the problems. Where we are now, which generation you are belongs to. As the historians, scholars in the field, you have to come up with that the clarification where we are going to stand, where we are supporting our organizing and pragmatic field, how we can organize our universities, our institutions, and things like that. So I think today, with the wonderful research insights, you will bring this the problem into a and discussion, provide other people, the lay people, overcome these long-lasting problems of our nations. Not only Sri Lanka, not only India. Now we are almost end up with our limited, I mean, ecologically, we are now terminating ourselves. Think about that. Now we are in the AI generation. We are AI generation. We don't know what will happen to the world. I don't know how history professors will survive with the AI, because all things are in the net, right? You can access any information, any knowledge, anything. Within 1 week, you can complete. I don't know. Rohita completed 300 more than 300 PhDs, right? I mean, supported, guided. They spend maybe 4, 5, 6 years. But now, with the AI technology, we can complete PhD within 1 week. Yes, that's true. So now it is challenge your role. So how almost terminating ourselves because of this technology. So good and bad. So divine and evil, we need to select. We need to understand. Therefore, as the historian, so it is your high to bring this society into a knowledgeable, understanding, and especially survive with multicultural, multidimensional world. That's the of all the people representing humanities and social sciences. So other people, other areas, other will give our the benefit of our personal lives, but you are the right people. We are in the terminating our humanity. So bring back the glory to this society. Thank you, Professor Malaviarachi, for organizing this wonderful event. Of Nayaka, you will stay about 3 days. Enjoy this wonderful location and also research activities and country, Sri Lanka. This is a beautiful country, beautiful university. Thank you so much again for coming, our wonderful university.
Hello, please come. It's a great occasion. They have given the values and following the future generation, the future historians. They have to follow how to do the research. For this purpose, only we are organizing this one. Thank you.
Thank you. We are now going to move to the most significant, the keynote address. With us, Professor Osman Bopearachi, Director of Research at the French National Center for Scientific Research, France.
To formally introduce our distinguished keynote speaker, I now invite Dr. Varuna Datta Singha, Senior Lecturer in the Department of Classical Languages, Faculty of Arts, University of Peradeniya, to the podium.
Our keynote speaker needs no introduction, but it's a format, so here it is. Professor Osman Bopearachi is corresponding member of the French Academy of Inscriptions and Belles Lettres. He's also the Emeritus Director of Research of the French National Center for Scientific Research, Paris, and the former visiting professor and member of the Doctoral School of the Paris, also in Paris. In addition to being a professor of Central and South Asian art and archaeology at the University of California, Berkeley in the US. Professor Bopearachi holds a bachelor's degree from the University of California in our country, and a Bachelor of Honors degree, a master's, an MPhil, and a doctoral degree from Paris 1 Sorbonne University, and a higher doctorate, habilitation, from Paris Sorbonne University, again in Paris, France. His publications include 16 books, 156 articles, 6 exhibition catalogs, and 7 edited volumes. He is a principal collaborator on numerous audiovisual projects and museum and archaeological databases. He has read 115 papers at international colloquia, delivered 345 talks in 2 universities, museums, and associations all over the world, and has carried archaeological missions in 30 countries, 30 different. The French Academy of Inscription has honored 5 of his books with prestigious awards, including in his publication in 2015, the Distinguished George Perrault Medal for his 2015 publication, From Bactria to Taprobane, Selected Works of Osman Bopearachchi, Volumes 1 and 2. In 2006, the French government honored his career achievements with the L'Ordre des Palmes Académiques, Order of Academic Palms, which is the highest distinction conferred by the French. As the director of the French Sri Lankan Archaeological Mission, Professor Bob joint projects with the Center for Buddhist Studies at the University of California, Berkeley, focusing on Sri Lanka's role in ancient maritime trade in the Indian Ocean. These projects include archaeological excavations using GIS mapping software to discover spatial and temporal patterns in the relationship between Buddhism and maritime trade, and also a study of how the stories of the life of the historical Buddha and his previous Jatakas found in the Pali texts, in Pali Buddhist texts, are illustrated in the Kandyan period murals in Sri Lanka. So with that, please welcome Professor Bopearachchi.
Thank you, Dr. Idrisinghe. Before Professor Bopearachchi takes the podium, I kindly invite Professor Chalapati Rao to felicitate him with the traditional shawl of honor.
Good morning, everyone. Professor, sorry, Minister already. I would like to thank Professor Reddy, the President of the World Historical Congress, Puducherry, and also the Honorable Vice Chancellor. And also I'm very grateful to Prabhat and also Rohita and Ramani for inviting me. I might forget names. I'm extremely sorry, just to save time. I thank you, all of you, distinguished guests, dear colleagues, dear friends and students. Sorry, I'm trying to, okay, right. It will be if you go to the audience because of the slideshow. You can remove some of these slides if necessary. There's a slideshow. Huh? So they can see you can see on this if you want to write. Okay. Trade brought together peoples of many cultures, languages, beliefs, and aesthetic aspirations. Traders were, to a certain extent, the mediators of this cultural as well as were Buddhist monks and nuns, philosophers, artists, and diplomats who travel across the merchant networks. As a result, not only goods, but also philosophical thoughts and artistic traditions were exchanged. Buddhism, like Jainism, favored profit-based trade more than Hinduism, which actively discouraged seafaring. Since Buddhism actively encouraged trade and invited donations by rich merchants, the study of Buddhist iconography can make an important contribution to this discussion. Aside from hundreds of inscriptions detailing those and Buddhist texts extolling merchants who complexes, Buddhist visual culture in the form of pictures and exporters can help us to evaluate the dynamic of trade and chronological and geographical orientation of routes. It will outline how, from its early history, Buddhism was closely linked with the merchant class, which came to support Buddhist monasteries and other institutions. Buddhist communities were established along the trade routes, linking important political and economic centers where they provided hospitality for merchants and other travelers. The inseparable and between Buddhism and merchant communities is demonstrated in Buddhist textual and visual narratives, especially in epitaphs for the Buddha. In a Purva Yoga, the previous birth stories are written in Gandhari. And in Pakistan, it is said that in a previous life, the Buddha, then a Bodhisattva, was a Samudra a merchant of a merchant trade in the ocean, who collected supplies and set on the Mahasamudra, the great ocean. Under the reign of Emperor Ashoka, the economy progressed rapidly and large quantities of prashapana were issued. Their wide circulation testifies to this economic prosperity. The spread of Buddhism from South Asia to Southeast Asia is closely connected with the growth of maritime and food. Flourishing inland and international trade centers were located in ports along the coast and rivers. The distribution patterns of early Buddhist settlements, active from the 3rd century BCE, show that they were clustered around the major rivers flowing to the Indian Ocean. Investigations carried out by us at the estuaries and along the rivers in South India, especially in Tamil Nadu and Sri Lanka, have shown that ancient times, large ships were anchored off coast in close proximity to river mouths, which facilitated the shipment of trade commodities in inland markets. The estuaries of large rivers designated as seaports with the suffix Pattinam, Titil, and Sinhalese never had man-built dugout harbors like the ones ordered in Greece and Rome. Other locations, the location of emporia along the rivers further facilitated transactions with interior regions. Transportation at that time was less dangerous. Sorry, we don't know. The fluvial transportation at that time was less dangerous and less expensive than the land routes. In northern Pakistan and northern Afghanistan, for example, all the Gandharan Buddhist sites were built along the upper Indus River and its tributaries like Kabul and Swat rivers. Similarly,
The Buddhist complexes of North India, such as Mathura, Vaishali, Nalanda, and Bodh Gaya, were situated either in the vicinity of the Ganges or its tributaries, including Yamuna and Neranjana. Satavahana and Ikshvaku periods, such as Amaravati, Nagarjunakonda, Granthashala, and Jagpetya in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, are located. Sri Lanka's ancient capitals and Buddhist complexes were located inland but connected in ports on the coast. Mantai, and the most active port in ancient Sri Lanka, was located close to the Malwatu River, which linked the port to the inland estuaries of Anuradhapura. The location of the ancient capital of Polonnaruwa on the banks of the Mahaveli River, which flows to the sea at Gokarna, Trincomalee, is evidence. Polonnaruwa was built as a capital when the maritime trade networks connected Southeast Asia and China became active. In Pagan, in Myanmar, nearly 3,000 stupas and monasteries were built on the Dwaravati, Sukhothai, Ayutthaya complexes were established along the Chao Phraya River in Thailand. In central Java, Progo River runs to the southeast, passing near the well-known Buddhist sites of Candi Borobudur, Candi Mendut, and Candi Poan. As the trade routes evolved from coastal to ocean navigation, the destinations fluctuated according to the decline and rise of political power. The makeup of the merchant communities also changed. Thanks to liturgical evidence, we know to a certain extent identities of these mariners, traders, and merchants who ventured across the Indian Ocean. Some Buddhist mural paintings and sculptures enable us to guess their identity. Like today's selfies, these generous traders left their portraits in the Buddhist art sponsored by them. At Ajanta, on the ceiling of cave number 1, the male figure seated in the middle of a scene is holding a wine drinking cup and surrounded by his entourage has been identified as Kuera, the king of the north, or one of the Chaturamaharajika's 4 great kings of the 4 directions. He is shown dressed in Persian garb with a long tunic belted at the waist. Apart from his cap, fluttering streamers emanating behind the head immediately evoke depictions of Sasanian kings in ancient Persia. These cheerful Kuvera, dressed and drinking like a Persian noble, being served by Persian women in Persian attire with fluttering ribbons, can be considered a self-portrait of a rich Persian merchant. Among the murals in cave number 17 at Ajanta, the story of Udayin and Gupta is interesting. Udayin was a courtier in the capital of Kapilavastu and a messenger of King Suddhodana, the father of Gautama Buddha. He fell in love with Gupta, the widow of minister's son is in Sravasti. They are depicting happily in their palace, attended by many servants. One is serving them wine, is dressed in a Persian and holding a Sasanian type wine jar. His discreet intrusion into the picture is quite remarkable. Among the many ethnic groups attested in the delegation headed by the King Udyana had many such non-Indian, including Ethiopians and Egyptians. Sri Lanka played international trade network in the Indian Ocean. Epigraphic, numismatic, and archaeological in Sri Lanka and South India have added to the growing body of evidence in the close cultural, social, religious, and commercial ties between Sri Lanka and Andhra Tamil Nadu during the early historical period. Aside from commercial uh, interactions, the cultural and religious relations
between Andhra Pradesh and Sri Lanka drew Buddhist communities closer together, so much so that a branch of the Mahavihara from Anuradhapura was established in the Sihala Vihara in Nagarjunakonda. According to an inscription found in the site, the monastery was inhabited by the Mahavihara Basin, monks from Mahavihara from Sri Lanka. Another Buddhist Lanka was at Chula Dharmagiri Vihara, also in Nagarjunakonda. These networks between India established by Buddhist communities also became vectors for artistic exchange. In early Common Era, merchants brought first sculptures and Buddhist reliefs to Sri Lanka to embellish monuments. These pictures became central to the development of a vibrant Buddhist artistic tradition on the island. For example, certain panels depicting the scenes from the life of Shakyamuni Buddha found in Sri Lanka were brought from Andhra Pradesh by traders. The first are the sculptures executed in India during the second phase of the high period of Amaravati during the Satavahana dynasty. They consist of two reliefs from the Bodhigara, the sacred Bodhi tree shrine in Anuradhapura. The 12 sculptures from the Bodhigara of the Abhigiri Vihara, excavated by Charles Godukumbere, the relief from the Tissamaharama, depicting the presentation of Prince Rahula to the Buddha by Yashodhara during his visit to Kapilavastu, is also one of them. The reliefs in the Bodhigara at Jetanarama Vihara made in dating to the Ikshvaku period, late 3rd century to 4th century CE. Among several sculptures of the post-Ikshvaku period were the reliefs depicting Kantaka bidding farewell to the Prince Siddhartha from the Girihandu Vihara in Ambalantote. The Chakravartin or universal monarch image found in an irrigation canal. Buddhas of the past, Bodhisattvas, and Buddha Gautama performing the twin miracle, O Sravasti, at Sravasti, Pompidurangala Stupa, and above all, the relief from Kumukvava, in the first ever known events of the Buddha's enlightenment and the 7 weeks he spent in the vicinity of the Bodhi Mandir. All the early iconography of Sri Lankan Buddhist art, including zoomorphic Nagas and Naginis, and anthropomorphic Nagarajas and Naginis, and Purnagata, were to a large extent inspired by Indian prototypes. All the well-preserved Vahalkada or Ayaka, but we know frontispieces joining the stupa at 4 cardinal directions have multiple depictions of both zoomorphic and anthropomorphic Nagarajas, Nagas, and Naginis. It is believed that Naga bestowed wealth and ensure fertility, and they are also considered the guardian deities of the 4 cardinal points. The Naga cult reaches its apogee in all 4 Vahalkadas, Jetona Ramadagaba. Zoomorphic Nagas and anthropomorphic Nagaraja and Naginis are placed on either extremity of every Vahalkada of the Jetona Ramadagaba, and these sculptures can be dated to the 4th century CE. 2 statues of Sankanidhi and Padmanidhi, representatives of 2 treasures of Kubera, the god of wealth, model in the round, dated to the that means 250 to 300 CE, now exhibited in the Nagarjunakonda Museum, also inspired Sri Lankan art. Guard stones with figures of Sankanidhi and Padmanidhi are numerous in Sri Lanka and often placed at the entrance of religious monument. The Northern Vahalkada of the Jetona Ramadagapa has an exceptional portrayal of Kubera. The most significant feature of this sculpture is the presence of 2 nidhis on either side of the god, pouring huge pouch carried over the head and shoulders. These are the earliest and clearest depictions of Sankanidhi and Padmanidhi following the prototype of the two statues from Nagarjuna Konda. Among many motifs, highly inspired by Andhra art, there are Roman motifs attested on the stamba or the columns on either side of the eastern Mahalkada of the Abhigiri Dagaba, depicting a Kalpavruksha, a tree of life, in the form of candelabrum, the candle tree, with a stem issuing from the Purnagata, decorated with family animals such as elephants, humbuls, as well as winged cupids and griffins. The cupids, sorry, the two male figures have the cupid's griffin and foliage, each branch of the candelabrum imitate the undulating acanthus leaves in Greek and Roman art. The two male figures have a winged and curly hair like the ones quite common in particular on the paintings of Pompeii can be safely assigned to the 1st century CE. Griffins were ancient meteors that had an eagle head, wings, and a lion body. It is believed that griffins love gold and would fight to defend their treasure. A new era of relations between Rome and Sri Lanka occurred during the reign of Emperor Claudius in the 1st century, following the accidental visit to the island by Annius Plocamus, collector of taxes in the Red Sea. It appears that following this visit, a delegation was sent from Sri Lanka, Rome. The recent research carried out by Italian archaeologists on the mummy of Grotta Rossa, an 8-year-old girl discovered 11 kilometers here in north of Rome, testifies to the trade between Rome and Sri Lanka. The child's body was placed in a sarcophagus decorated with hunting scenes inspired by an episode of the book 4 of the Aeneid. Near the mummy was an ivory doll with articulated arms and legs, gold earrings, gold rings adorned with winged victory, a small red amber vase, and small amulet. The mummy wore a fine tunic of Chinese silk and a gold necklace adorned with 13 blue sapphires. Italian archaeologists and gemologists came to the conclusion that the sapphires came from Sri Lanka. Analysis of the decoration of the sarcophagus and the offerings date the tomb to the second half of the 2nd century CE. Blue sapphires found in a tomb of a woman from Colonna of Rome, also dated to the 2nd century, are also from Sri Lanka. We know that the sculptures of the 4 Vahalkadas of the Abhigiri Dagaba in Anuradhapura are dated to the 2nd century CE based on a slab inscription on the South Vahalkada. It enables us to firmly date the 4 Vahalkadas to the reign of King Kantakasitisa of the 2nd century. The iconography Tree of Life in the form of Eastern Vahalkado Tabigiri Dagaba for many pillars of ancient Dagabas, including Kantaka Chaitya, Dakina and Digavapi Chaitya. However, the original iconography for these pillars was misinterpreted because the original Roman motif lost their identity, leaving space for the imagination of the local sculptors. From the 7th century onward, merchants from China, it was with the sudden burst of that Sri Lanka began to play a decisive role in maritime trade across a wider expansion of Indian Ocean. It was during the peak of this movement that Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara and his consort Tara became popular as the protector of sailors throughout Asia. It is now clear that the cult of Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara originated from Gandhara as early as the 2nd century CE, that from there his images were transmitted to India, Tibet, and China, and also to Korea along the land routes. In Gandharan art, The iconography of Bodhisattva Maitreya is often recognizable through his characteristic attribute, the flask or kundika. Identifying Avalokiteshvara in early Indian art forms, however, is more of a challenge. A sculpture depicting the Bodhisattva Padmapani Avalokiteshvara, dressed in a royal garb and wearing an elaborate turban featuring a meditating Amitabha Buddha, already published by us, is the first known undisputable image of Avalokiteshvara from Gandhara, which can be dated to the 2nd century CE. The presence of many depictions of the so-called Ashtamahabhaya Avalokiteshvara saving traders from 8 perils in Maharashtra caves complexes in Western India clearly demonstrates that the merchants face when they take the dangerous land routes. The sculptures depicting the Ashtamahabhaya Avalokiteshvara evoke mainly the dangers of land routes. Buddhist visual narratives sponsored by traders can thus be seen as appeals for the protection from the Blessed Ones to reach their home safely. They needed the Bodhisattva's protection against enraged animals, poisonous reptiles, wild beasts, evil spirits, captivity and slavery, the sword of the enemy, and devouring fire. Out of 8 perils, one is dedicated to seafarers who faced danger in the turbulent ocean. The popularity of Avalokiteshvara, who protects traders faced with dangers of overland routes, can be seen on the Northern Silk Road. For example, these dangers and the protection of Avalokiteshvara are well represented on the mural paintings in Mogavo Cave, number 14, dating to the end of the Tang dynasty, meaning 9th century. Among many, the following dangers are significant: enraged animals, captivity and slavery, evil spirits, devouring fire, and shipwrecks. While Ashtamahabhaya Avalokiteshvara became popular on the west coast of the Deccan Plateau, Ashtamahabhaya Tara was worshipped on the east coast. Among them, two reliefs found in Ratnagiri Mahayana complex in Odisha noteworthy. One is in the Archaeological Museum of Ratnagiri, and the other is in the Bihar Museum in Patna. The presence of 5 Tathagatas or Dahani Buddhas, Amitabha, Amoghasiddhi, Ratnasambhava, and Vairocana above the head of Tara is remarkable. The beautiful iconography of the one that was discovered accidentally in year 2000 in a remote village called in Bangladesh during the renovation of an ancient pond should be highlighted. All 8 of the dangers that the merchants face on their routes are presented in clear manner. It is in this context that we are enabled to understand the results from the Avalokiteshvara survey project launched in Sri Lanka by the French CNRS, Paris, and University of California, Berkeley, with the collaboration of the Department of Archaeology, University of Rajarata, Norwegian University of Sciences and Religious Studies, University of Calcutta, and Nalanda University, with the aim of studying relationship between Buddhism and maritime trade in Sri Lanka and beyond. The spatial and temporal patterns of location of Avalokiteshvara images shows of Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara as the patron and protector of mariners gained popularity in Sri Lanka from the 7th century onward. His images were erected in sanctuaries built at the mouths of rivers or bays facing the sea or inland along the navigable rivers. An inscription
containing 11 lines written in South Indian Gantha script, dated to the 7th or 8th century, chiseled on a rock surface at Tiriyaya, refers to companies of merchants. Reference to Avalokiteshvara was proven on the 6th of April 1983 when the Department of Archaeology undertook an excavation at the site. 31 statues of the Buddha, 11 of Bodhisattvas, 3 of Tara, a casket stupa top, and 4 Dhani Buddhas were found buried under the paving stone of a ruined Padanagara. The statue with elaborate work Datamagata depicting the 5 Tathagatas, once again, the Akshobhya, Amitabha, Amoghasiddhi, Ratnasambhava, and Vairochana was one of the important discoveries. Dressed like a bodhisattva, he holds a lotus to the left hand and opened the flower with the little finger of the right hand. This statue was probably imported from Bihar or Orissa in northern India. The sculpture of Vajradharma Lokeshwara, found in the temple 4 of Ratnagiri in Odisha, is a good parallel. The seated Buddha in Vajrasana, showing the Bhumisparsha Mudra or taking the earth as witness, found in Tiriyaya, is in Pallava style. A similar sculpture found in ancient monastery of Nalanda, dated to the 9th CE, is one such comparison. The statue of Padmapani Avalokiteshvara, seated in Lalitasana and showing Vardamudra, seem to have been imported from Bihar, northern India, as evidenced by this sculpture from the archaeological site of Nalanda, dated to the 9th century CE. In the 8th century, many Buddhist monasteries in Anuradhapura practice Vajrayana, of which Avalokiteshvara, Ashokaramya, and nearby Vijayarama are just 2 examples. 13 copper plaques with inscriptions on them were discovered in the ancient stupa in Vijayarama complex. Sanskrit texts written in Sinhalese characters are dated to the 8th and 9th centuries. Like in Tiriyaya, 55 statues of the Buddha, along with 1 Avalokiteshvara and 1 Tara, found in the Padhanagara complex in the Mahavihara in Anuradhapura during the excavations. The triad depicting the Buddha in the middle, ascetic and princely types of image of Avalokiteshvara on either side are attested in Buddha Patuna, Mudu Mahavihara, Situlpava, Veheragala Purana Raja Mahavihara, and many other archaeological sites. The inspiration for these 2 types would have come from Maharashtra in the Deccan Plateau. The image to the viewer's right of the shrine entrance of the cave number 2 at Aurangabad is the ascetic type and the one princely type. Both bodhisattvas stand on lotus pedestals and hold a lotus stalk on which sits a small Amitabha, the principal Buddha in the Pure Land Buddhism and spiritual teacher of the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara. The ascetic Avalokiteshvara wears a simple dhoti, carries an antelope skin, ajina, over his shoulder, and holds a loop rope, pasha, in his left hand. The ancient Buddhist shrine of Budurogala in nation Sri Lanka consisted of statues belonging to the Mahayana tradition, dated to the 9th and 10th century, or 10th century, is characterized by Mahayana Bodhisattvas. The tallest sculpture in the center, which retains traces of the original polychrome, is that of the Gautama Buddha. One holding the bolt is Bodhisattva Vajrapani. It is worth recalling that bronze statues of Vajrapani have also found on the island. The one whose attributes it damaged today could be Bodhisattva Manjusri, who usually holds a sword. The female figure holding Kundika or the water pot is Tara, consort of Avalokiteshvara. Many images of Tara were unearthed in many parts of Sri Lanka. The male figure on the other side is usually identified as Sudana Kumara,
considered as one of Avalokiteshwara's assistants, or in Sri Lankan, as we know, Sudanakumara is the name of a deity sometimes seen accompanying Manjusri. The figure in between Sudanakumara and Tara, wearing the Krishnajina, the animal skin, around the waist, is no doubt the ascetic form of Avalokiteshvara. The image of Amitabha depicted in the headdress. The central figure on the opposite triad adorned well the princely Avalokiteshvara. It is impossible to discuss all the Mahayana sites documented by us where statues of Avalokiteshvara have been attested. We have documented for the first time in this island 123 sites where images of Avalokiteshvara were found. During our research, we identified the archaeological site of the 28-mile post in Polonnaruwa as a Mahayana complex by observing the Avalokiteshvara heads scattered across the surface that you can see. A year later, the excavations conducted by the Department of Archaeology unearthed two types of Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara sculptures and a Buddha image. The gilded bronze sculpture of Tara, the gilded bronze sculpture of Tara, now in the British Museum, was presumably found in Sri Lanka between Trincomalee and Batticaloa. The well-preserved image of the Bodhisattva carved in high-sunk relief at Kushtarajagala, near the ancient seaport of Veligama or Mahavalukagama, is also of great importance. There are depictions of 4 out of 5 Dahani Buddhas in the head. The accidental discovery made in Sri Sangabodhi Vihara at Veheragali in Anuradhapura district in 1968 brought to light one of the most beautiful sculptures of Avalokiteshvara, along with 2 statues of Buddha, many other ritual items. The most important discovery of our project was an inscription of the Vajra, which underscores the presence and the Vajrayana in Sri Lankan capital of Anuradhapura from the 8th to the 10th centuries. The stone inscription that my student Kelly Powell identified as representing the portion of Sarva Tathagata Sattva Sampraya's Vajradhatu Mandala was discovered on November 10th in 2010 when the conservation work was being carried out in the south portion of the dome of the Abhigiri Stupa. It was found in a niche mainly explicitly for this purpose of housing it, indicating the purposeful ritual placement of the object. Apart from this, 2 other inscriptions identified by Reverend Chandavimala Thero in 2007 were found in the Dharani Gruha to the southeast of the stupa that they date to the 9th century. Iconographic analysis of the bronze Avalokiteshvara statue from Anuradhapura, found accidentally in the Malwatu Oya or Malwatu River, allows us to say that it presents characteristics of 2 types of Avalokiteshvara found on the island, namely the yogi and ascetic and princely or Bijaval type. Avalokiteshvara stands on a base performing Vitarka Mudra with the right hand and Kataka Hasta with the left. A flayed tiger skin with pendant forelegs is worn over the dhoti. An important feature of the tiger skin is the prominent display of the tiger face on the right thigh. The flayed tiger skin with the face worn prominently is the influence of Shaiva iconography on that of Mahayana Buddhism, an influence particularly perceptible in Thailand and Indonesia. Among them, the following sculptures are of great importance as they represent the roots of maritime trade: the 4-armed Avalokiteshvara found in Musi Ulu, Palembang, Sumatra, now in the National Museum of Jakarta; stone statue of 2-armed Avalokiteshvara from Wat Mahatat in Thailand, now in the Bangkok National Museum; a bronze statue of 10-armed Avalokiteshvara from Central Java, dated to the 9th century, now in the Paris Musée Guimet;
and the two-armed two-armed statues of Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara from Peninsula, Thailand, now in display at the Bangkok National Museum. These types of bronze statues and stone images of Avalokiteshvara demonstrate that its inspiration extended to Thailand, Sumatra, Borneo, Java, Sulawesi from the 8th to the 11th centuries. The expansion of Tantric Buddhism from India to South Asia and Southeast Asia is also linked with the expansion of maritime activities with China. Vajrabodhi, the Indian Buddhist monk and teacher of Tantric Buddhism, traveled from Anuradhapura in search of Tantric manuscripts. He then traveled to China aboard of one of the 35 Persian ships anchored. The maritime route that the Persian ships took with Vajrabodhi on the boat was the same that frequented by Sinhalese bhikkhunis or the Buddhist nuns on their way to China of the Tang dynasty. The Chinese sources record that during the period from the last years of the Jin dynasty to the end of the Tang, 11th century, 11 Sri Lankan Buddhist missions were sent to China, not from the Chinese ships, but most probably ships from South India and Sri Lanka. The promoted the development of China. Likewise, Vajrabodhi and his disciple Amoghavajra, masters of esoteric Buddhism in the Tang dynasty, enjoyed the hospitality of Tang emperor. The bronze statues of Avalokiteshvara found in Anuradhapura is not only unique in style and iconography, but also is an invaluable testimony to the religious exchanges between Sri Lanka and South Asia, facilitated by flourishing maritime networks. In conclusion, seafaring traders and caravan merchants were not only interested in the exchange of commodities to make a profit, but also, as revealed by epigraphic and literary evidence, the earliest donors and important patrons of Buddhist establishment in Asia. The spread of Buddhism and Buddhist iconography in South Asia and Far East is closely linked to the growth of maritime and land routes that facilitated the movement of Buddhist merchants, traveling monks, and teachers. Parts of the Buddha statue discovered in January 2018 and in January 2022 during the archaeological excavations in the ancient port of Bereniki in Egypt by an American-Polish archaeological mission in the forecourt of early Roman temple dedicated to the god Isis clearly show that the Buddhist trading community was established there. These sculptures, dated to the 2nd or 3rd century CE, represent the early expansion of Buddhism in the ancient world. I hope that this brief overview of the spread of Buddhism in South and Southeast Asia and Far East, as revealed by textual accounts, and above all, the spread of iconography has shown how the images and symbols associated with them can be seen as visual manifestation of social, commercial, and religious networks leading to multiculturalism and cross-fertilization. I thank you very much for your attention.
Professor Osman Bopearachi, thank you, sir, for your insightful.
And next, I would like to invite Professor Sanjeeva Malaviarachi onto the stage. To honor Professor Sanjeev, now I would like to invite Professor Rohita Dasanayaka to felicitate him with the traditional shawl of honor. Thank you, sir. We now move on to a moment of celebration. Historians. Let us honor and applaud the achievements of those who have contributed immensely to the field of history. And to proceed, invite Professor C. Chandrasekhar, Treasurer of the Puducherry World History 25, names of the awardees.
So, good morning to the Professor, Research University and Dean Faculty of Arts for to allow the host the conference at this university. And my greetings to my best friend, Mr. Rohita, head of the Department of History, to accept our obligations to host the Third World History Congress. And my warm greetings to the founder member of this Puducherry World History Congress, Mr. Gunasekaran, Mr. Chalapati Rao sir, Mudu ma'am, and Sobita sir. It is a great honor and privilege is a discussion and global historiography. She has undertaken several national recognitions. Her research has been pioneering in exploring the history of Indian plantation, labor, culture, and the broader framework of historiography. With meticulous scholarship and a deeply humanitic perspectives, she has illuminated the uh, lived experience to marginalized communities and their enduring cultural legacies across the border. So today, as we honor Professor Itiarachi, we celebrate not only her remarkable, also her commitment to advancing historical knowledge with her rigor, depth, and empathy to recognize her invaluable contribution. And I am humbled to present this award to her. Thank you, sir.
I would like to invite Professor Ramani Hettiarachi to receive the award for the best historians. Thank you. Next, we would like to invite Professor Rohita Dasanayake of Emerit Hettiarachi's award for the best historian. Hospitalized on behalf of him, Professor Rohita Dasanayake will be taking the award. Thank you, sir. Next on our program, we have a special moment of recognition and celebration. Professor Chenna Reddy, President of the Puducherry World History Congress 2025, has graciously contributed copies of his recent books.
This significant work will be now presented by Professor Rohita Dasanayake to Dr. Prabhat Tekanayake as a token of scholarly contribution and collaboration. And the title of the books are the first book, Kalyana Mitra, a treasure house of history, culture and archaeological studies, volume 9, Contemporary History and Diaspora. The second book, Kalyana Mitra, a treasure house of history, culture and archaeological studies, 12, tourism. The third book, Kalyana Mitra, a treasure house of history, culture and archaeological studies, volume 8, e-commerce.
We thank Professor Reddy for this invaluable contribution, which enriches our academic this region. And now I kindly invite Professor Rohita Dasanayaka onto the stage to present the tokens of appreciation to the following dignitaries.
First, I would like to invite Professor R. Kuppusamy onto the stage to receive his tokens of appreciation. Next, Professor P. Ilango. Next, Professor Chalapati Rao. Next, I would like to invite Professor A. Deva. And finally, I would like to invite Professor Vijay. Thank you so much. I now invite Professor Sumudu Dharmaratna, Department of History, University of Peradeniya, the vote of thanks. Excuse me. I would like to invite Professor Rohit Das. And I would like to invite Professor Veda Lakshmi onto the stage to receive her token of appreciation. Next, Professor Gunasekaran. And finally, Professor C. Chandrasekhar. Next, I would like to invite Professor Chandrasekhar. And finally, I'd like to invite Dr. R. Kavalamma, member, Karnataka Public Service Commission, Bangalore. Thank you. Now I invite Professor Sumudu Dharmaratne, Department of History, University of Peradeniya. Thanks.
Reverend Deputy Vice Chancellor Sir, Dean Sir, Faculty of Arts, Chennai Reddy, all the invitees, scholars, my dear students. It's a great honor for me to deliver the vote of thanks at this historic inaugurations of the Puducherry World History Congress 2025. Dean Sir, on behalf of the Department of History, I am proud to say that we are fully committed to building a stronger and more vibrant that is committed to academic excellence and intellectual curiosity. This occasion is a wonderful opportunity to portray our collaborative strength and shared vision. So today, it's my duty to heartfelt gratitude to each and every individuals, those who support our journey towards success. First of all, I'd like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our chief guest, our great guru, Professor Chandana Beratna, for gracing this occasion as our chief guest. His presence is not only a great honor, but also a symbolic reminder of the enduring connection between academia and public service. And also, I would like to use this opportunity to admire his remarkable contribution to the field of history and of historians. All the Indian officials of the PWHC, we highly admire and we highly admire your gracing this occasion with the honor of hosting University of Peradeniya for this Congress. Especially, I want to thank Reddy, Professor Chandrasekharan and Professor Gunasekharan for their remarkable contribution. My special word of thanks goes to Vice Chancellor, University of Peradeniya, Professor Terence Manjujith, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Ranjit Pallegama, Dean, Faculty of Dr. Prabhat Ekanayaka, for their guidance and leads occasion a truly international academic milestone. My special to Professor Osman Bopearachi, our your tone and your valuable ideas inspired us. Yes, history of our department. And my special word of thanks goes to very special two individuals of my department, Professor Rohita Dasanayaka, Head of the Department of History, Local Secretary, PWHC 2025, and Ramani Hettiarachi, Vice President, PWHC 2025, for their leadership and tireless dedication. It's the OF Alumni Association members and manager Bank of Ceylon Peradeniya branch. We highly acknowledge your cooperation. All the special invitees, deans of the faculties, head of the department, all the other special invitees, academic staff members, we highly acknowledge your presence. It adds immense for this occasion. Our scholarly partner, collaborators traveled across from region and beyond. We highly acknowledge your commitment advancing global academic scholarships. Finally, I want to admire the most important crew of this event. All the members of the administrative authorities of the University of Peradeniya, Registrar University of Peradeniya, Registrar University of Peradeniya, Bursar, Librarian, Chief Medical Officer, PRO Officer, and their respective teams. All the coordinators of the organizing team, especially Dr. Reverend Sobitha, Mr. Sahan Mahesh, and other members of the coordinating committee, technical staff members, supportive staff members, and all the other members of the supportive teams, media units, volunteers, our dedicated students. Thank you very much for their hard work and sense of responsibility. Once again, hard work and sense of responsibility. Once again, thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you, Professor Dharmaratna. As we bring this historic Congress to a close, let us remember that history is not only about the past we study, but also about the bridges we build for the future. From Puducherry to Peradeniya, from classrooms to Congress halls, our conversations have reminded us that history is alive, alive in our cultures, our people, and in the stories that unite us.
May the spirit of this Congress continue to inspire us to research, to write, to teach, and above all, to preserve the heritage of our region and the wider world for generations to come. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Puducherry World and the University of Peradeniya, we thank you for being part of this remarkable journey. With hearts full of gratitude and minds full of inspiration, we now bid your farewell until we meet again.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, kindly rise for the national anthems of India and Sri Lanka.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना कंचन जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाव जय गाथा मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे हे जय 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 हे श्रीलंका माता अब श्रीलंका नमो 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 माता सब सिद्धि सिद्ध साधना जीवन माता भक्ति पूजा नमो अब श्रीलंका नमो 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 करे अब विद्या उभय अब सत्या भज तुल भक्ति अब आयुति अब जीवन में अब मुक्ति बने अब जीवन विधिन अब माता ज्ञान वीर मद श्रीलंका नमो नमो नमो
Please note that. Thank you. Please note that there is a designated area for refreshments for the invitees at the pillared area of the main arts building where you can enjoy a selection of treats and beverages. Thank you. And attention, please. I encourage all attendees to participate in their respective technical sessions after the refreshments. Thank you.